The wellspring, based on the biblical principle found in Proverbs 4 verse 23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. The story explores how the heart is not just a place of emotion, but the source of choices, actions, and ultimately, destiny. The wellspring. It was a quiet village nestled between hills and rivers, a place where life seemed to pass slowly. Among its residents was I, a young man by name Eli, known for my curious nature and deep questions. From the outside, I looked like any other villager, calloused hands from farm work, dust on my sandals, and eyes that held the glow of youth, but inside, a storm was brewing. I had grown up hearing stories from my grandfather about the heart, not the physical one, but the one the Bible spoke about. My grandfather, a quiet, wise man, would often say, "The heart is like a wellspring. If the water is clean, life flows purely. But if it's poisoned..." He would pause, squinting into the firelight, "The whole village can suffer." As a child, I took those words as metaphors, nothing more than poetic wisdom. But now, at 17, I began to see how true they were. Cracks in the spring. I had a friend, Simeon. We grew up like brothers, climbing fig trees, racing through olive groves, and fishing by the river. But something shifted when a traveling merchant's daughter, Liana, arrived in the village. She was beautiful, too beautiful, I thought. Her voice carried like music, and her presence turned heads in the marketplace. Simeon noticed her first, and I, out of loyalty, stayed back. But the heart doesn't always obey logic. One evening, after helping my father mend the sheep pen, I found himself walking toward the river. There, under the willow tree, sat Liana. Alone. Singing. Our eyes met. Something passed between us, unspoken, magnetic. A spark. I tried to resist. I kept reminding myself of Simeon, of their bond, of loyalty. But night after night, I returned to the river. We talked about everything, life, faith, dreams. And each time, I told myself it was harmless. Until Simeon found out. "You've been seeing her behind my back?" Simeon asked, hurt burning in his eyes. "It's not what you think," I lied. But it was. The heart, once cracked, leaks truth whether you like it or not. The poison. After their falling out, I felt empty. I tried to pray but my words felt thin. Tried to work, but my hands trembled. One night, I returned to my grandfather's cottage. The old man was sitting by the fire, as always, gently polishing a carved wooden cup. "You've been drinking from a poisoned spring," the old man said, not looking up. My heart sank. "What do you mean?" I asked. "Your heart," he said. "You didn't guard it. You let desire sit where truth should reign. You let flattery drown out the whisper of conscience." I sat, silent. My grandfather continued, quoting softly, "Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of my life." "That's from Proverbs," I said. "Wisdom that's ignored is like a locked gate with no key. Useless when the wolves come." The cleansing. I left the village. Not out of shame, at least, not entirely, but to find healing. I traveled to a nearby monastery in the mountains, where men devoted themselves to scripture and silence. For weeks, I labored in the fields, woke up before sunrise to pray, and listened as an old monk named Father Caleb taught about the human heart. "One might control his actions," Caleb said once, "but if the heart is diseased, it will infect every part of life. Thoughts become twisted. Motives become impure. Even good deeds become tainted." I asked, "How do you cleanse a heart?" Father Caleb smiled. "You surrender it." "To who?" I asked. "To the one who made it." The wellspring restored. Months passed. My heart softened under prayer, fasting, and reflection. I realized my heart had not just betrayed Simeon. It had betrayed God. I had placed desire, envy, and pride in the throne room of my soul. One morning, while reading the Psalms, I came across David's cry, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." I fell to my knees. I wept, not out of guilt alone, but out of longing. I didn't just want forgiveness. I wanted transformation. I prayed aloud, "Lord, cleanse my heart. Make it yours again." It wasn't immediate. But something shifted. Over time, joy returned, not the joy that came from Liana's eyes or village approval, but the quiet, rooted joy that grows when your heart aligns with your Creator. I learned that guarding my heart didn't mean building walls. It meant building a gate, with the Word as the guard. Returning home. I returned to my village nearly a year later. I was older now, not just in age, but in spirit. My eyes didn't chase the wind anymore. They searched for purpose. Simeon met me at the well. There was tension at first, but it melted in the embrace that followed. "I was wrong," I said. "Not just to you, but in how I lived." Simeon nodded. We both lost our way. Liana had moved on. Her father's trade took them elsewhere. And I didn't mind. I then realized she was a mirror, not a destination. She showed me the cracks, but the healing had to come from deeper. That evening, I shared with the village youth around a small fire. I spoke not of rules or rituals, but of the heart. "It's not just feelings," I said. "It's the control room. Every choice, every word, every path, it all starts there." I pointed to my chest. That's why Proverbs says, "Guard it." Because what you let in will eventually come out. What you feed will grow. What you ignore will fester. Wellspring of life. Years later, I became a teacher in the village. Some said I was a rabbi. Others just called me shepherd of hearts. Children came to me with questions. Elders came to me for prayers. But one thing never changed, my morning ritual. Each day before sunrise, I knelt in prayer and whispered, "Create in me a clean heart." I taught that the heart isn't a mystery to fear but a garden to tend. A gate to guard. A spring to keep clean. And from it, indeed, flowed the issues of life. Moral of my story. Your heart is not just a place of emotion, it's the source of your destiny. As the Bible teaches in Proverbs 4 verse 23, guarding it isn't optional, it's foundational. The thoughts you entertain, the desires you feed, the voices you allow in, these shape not just who you are, but who you become.